Hi, I'm Sarah Tabor, small farmer, former farm worker, and talker about agriculture on the internet. I've been talking a lot about how Trump is making slavery great again on U.S. farms. It's not 13th Amendment slavery. It is making it easier to use and abuse H-2A workers who came to the country legally on guest worker visas. When I first started talking about this, I made it into skits because slavery is a huge bummer, and it turns out people will not click on that unless you keep it fun. So here are all those shorts in one place. Don't worry, there will be a properly somber talking head video essay coming up soon, but I wanted to get this all in one place quickly so that people have a reference. All the links and sources I used to make this are in the description below. Here we go. Enjoy. This human trafficking from Mexico is out of control. I can't believe there are idiots who want a looser border. Hi, I'm a farmer. Did you know that Trump actually just made it a lot easier for people who do slavery in the US right now? Oh, what the? Yeah, when the news talks about human trafficking, they usually mean sex trafficking because it's sexier. But a lot of the slavery that's happening in the US right now is just plain old agricultural field slavery. Right, like when criminals smuggle people across the border and force them to work, that's why we have to stop all this illegal immigration. So a lot of the people stuck in farm slavery actually did come here legally. That makes no sense. Sure it does. And trafficking is kind of a cutesy wiggle word that hides the real problem, which is slavery. When people in the US force other people to work for little or no pay. The way it works is you come to the US legally for a farm job. You've got your visa and everything. Then once you get to the job, you find out you're going to live in a dirty little shack. Your supervisors take your passport and visa, so you can't cross the border to go back home. You are trapped here. And if you complain, they're just going to call up ICE and tell them to arrest this undocumented guy they just found. So all these extra ICE arrests are actually helping the people who do slavery. Yeah, so all these farm workers come here legally, but that doesn't stop their supervisors from doing them dirty. To keep them motivated, sometimes supervisors will beat them or worse, but usually they just work with organized crime to threaten their families back in Mexico. You know, if you don't work faster, I'm going to kill your wife kind of stuff. So that is how you can come to the US completely legally to do farm work and still get stuck in slavery. But that's illegal. People who do that go to jail. Oh yeah, sometimes they do. But that one farm slavery ring in Georgia made $200 million in just 5 or 6 years, so you can see why some people decide it's worth the risk. But Trump said he's stopping human trafficking. Yeah, that's why he won't release the Epstein files, right? Anyway, he just made it easier to do slavery on farms. Well, after that $200 million slavery bust in Georgia, the federal government realized we got to fix some things about the legal immigration process if that can happen to people. So they fixed it to make slavery harder to do. Oh yeah? How'd they do that? Oh, you know, basic stuff. If you get caught doing slavery to legal immigrants, you can't hire legal immigrants anymore. Seriously, stop taking people's passports. And if someone wants to talk to their priest or pastor, you have to let them. You know, freedom of religion. Those are the big fixes, because they just sound like common sense, right? I thought so too. But a lot of people in agriculture started crying about how all these anti-slavery changes were going to put them out of business. Mostly labor contractors. If your business can't run without slavery, it must not be a very good business. You said it, not me. So then what happened? Oh, all those anti-slavery immigration fixes? Trump got rid of them back in June. So you're telling me all this is happening and it's not in the news anywhere? Yeah, it's all over the farm news because they're celebrating the end of all these excessive regulations. That's the cool thing about how the major news networks have made this all about border security, because then nobody's paying attention to what folks are doing right here in the US. You're telling me the US farmers are just down for slavery like that? Hashtag not all farmers right, I'm here. But a lot of farmers have pretty much given up on hiring people themselves. Instead, they call in a labor contractor. It's basically a temp agency for farms. You can say, hey, I'm going to need 20 guys in August, and they bring them on over for you. Ah, a middleman. So it's the labor contractors that are doing all them. Hashtag not all labor contractors. But yeah, when it happens, that's often who's doing it. The system kind of works in a messed up way. The farmer gets a convenient source of labor exactly when they need it. Doesn't have to deal with finding people or paperwork. And if it turns out there was a little slavery going on under the table, they can just say, I had no idea that contractor was crooked. What do you mean no idea? Shouldn't it be kind of obvious that slavery's happening if the labor's so cheap? That's the fun part. Farm labor contractors are not cheap. Here in North Carolina, the minimum wage you have to pay for each worker through a contractor is $16 an hour. Plus the contractor will charge you extra for housing, food, transportation, all your paperwork processing. Farm labor contractors charge real money. $16 an hour? So how come all the farm workers are saying we ain't get peanuts? Right, so $16 an hour is what the contractors are supposed to pay farm workers. But they'll often charge fees for food, transportation, housing, paperwork processing. So yeah, after all those charges are taken out, farm workers often have very little left. Well, you're not making any sense because you just said the farmer pays all those fees. Oh yeah, the farmers do pay for all that. That's the fun part. A lot of these labor contractors double dip. Charge farmers and workers fees for everything. All that double dipping is how you have farmers complaining the labor's too expensive, how you have workers saying, we're not getting paid anything. It's what makes it slavery, and it's why that slavery ring in Georgia made $200 million. Okay, so it's slavery and farmers are getting screwed? Yep. Wow, so farmers must be pissed about this, right? Surprisingly little. So here's what happens. Every time farmers get mad about how much this kind of labor costs, the labor contractors get in there and yell, boo, it's all the government regulations. So farmers get mad at the government instead of the labor contractors who are making millions of dollars off of them. Really? Lying just works? Yeah, because sketchy labor practices are kind of an open secret in agriculture. No one really wants to look too close at what these labor contractors are doing because they're scared that if I know too much, I might get in trouble. So when everyone's already busy looking away, it is real easy to lie and just get away with it. Wow, okay. Also, farm workers have been raising the alarm on this stuff forever because they're the ones getting beat. That means a lot of farmers feel like if they work together with workers on this problem that we both have together, then the workers won. And that would be even worse than the labor contractors. Oh, okay, so next time you see a farmer complaining on the news about how they can't make money, I might feel kind of different about that. Yeah, and as a farmer, it's really disappointing because I thought we were all grown-ups who know that you don't solve problems by burying your head in the sand. So now we have a lot of farms that basically depend on organized crime for their labor. Now, if it were me, I'd be asking myself some questions like, what's next? They can demand more money, or they cut you off from your labor. Bye-bye, no more farm. Maybe they want to use your farm to hide drugs, and maybe you can't afford to say no. It sounds crazy, but this is exactly how organized crime got so powerful in Mexico, and we are literally inviting it in here. Oh shit, right? Okay, so what do we do about this? For farmers, honestly, a lot of folks got used to seeing farm workers as the enemy because they were trying to tell us there was a problem. They shot the messenger, and they started seeing labor contractors as a friend who's going to help them solve the problem, help them shoot the messenger. We might want to double check that thinking. For everyone else, a good start is let's stop arresting farm workers and let's get back to arresting the criminals who are enslaving them. Well, Trump says the ICE arrests are going to stop human trafficking. Well, he's a politician. And they say a lot of things, don't they? I know that's right. Bottom line, if you want to stop slavery and human trafficking, you go after the people who are doing it to other people, not to the workers they're preying on, right? Trump is doing the opposite. He's arresting the workers. And we already had laws to get these modern farm slavery rings under control, and Trump got rid of them. So farm slavery in the US is a thing right now, and Trump's making it worse. Did I get that right? Yeah, well, this is a shit show. Look, I'm a farmer. And I know it can make other farmers mad when I talk about this because they'd just rather not know. But this is my industry. And I want myself and all the rest of us to have some kind of future to look forward to. And to get there, we have got to think ahead a little bit and help ourselves out. Number one, this ain't right. And number two, even if you don't care about right and wrong, think about yourself. Think ahead a little bit. What do you think happens when you come to depend on organized crime to run your farm? You are just setting yourself up to be their next victim. Yeah, that sounds like asking for it. Yeah, and I really wish people would stop falling for it when politicians say, I'm going to stop human trafficking, but what they do is help the crooks get away with things. Yeah, sounds like if you're trying to solve the problem, you're arresting the perps, not helping them out. 100%.